What up, Kings fans, and welcome back to On the King's Dime. Yes, we're finally back after a little bit of a hiatus. We're not going to let that disappointment of last year's finals get to us. We're coming back strong, and we're going to be bringing you a lot more content this season. Starting with this video today, Didi Louzada, our young next star, the young Brazilian, coming in with big shoes to fill, obviously, with Brian Bowen going over to the draft, undrafted over there, but still being picked up by the Pacers on a two-way. He'll be playing for their G League team. Another NBL guy that could possibly make it to the NBA. So more credit to the NBL, obviously getting a lot more eyes on it with Lemon Ball and RJ Hampton coming down. Now Didi Louzada coming to play for the Kings. I think you guys are really going to love Didi Louzada. He's going to fit in perfectly with this team. Loves to get the basket, can shoot the three ball, loves to create off the dribble, and I think he can handle the ball maybe a little bit better than Bowen. We're going to go through a few of the stats. We're going to go through a little bit in depth later on. But pairing him with Lish, obviously I think the best perimeter defender in the league. And then Casper Ware, we haven't talked much about Casper Ware yet. I think he's going to be a lot better than Jerome Randall and Kyle Adnam. Bless their hearts last year. They tried their hearts out. Jerome Randall obviously disappointing with that injury at the end of the season. His season kind of ended in tragedy, and then he ended up leaving. It's a bit disappointing, but I think we're getting a little bit of an upgrade with Casper Ware. I'm pretty happy with trading Jerome Randall for Casper Ware and then adding a 6'5" guy like Didi Louzada in the shooting guard small forward position. And then Kevin Lish. We've got Sean Bruce. Sean Tate, a guy who looks like he could jump out of kudos. We've got him coming in. Daniel Kickett and Craig Moller. And we've got Andrew Bogut as well. I think this roster's coming together nicely. But also, while you're here, like and subscribe, whichever side it's on. We really appreciate the years, really appreciate the feedback from the Facebook group, the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, and on YouTube. Really appreciate it. We're going to be bringing you a lot more this season. Hopefully you enjoy it. We're going to try and get some fan interaction, do a little bit more tactical stuff, focus more on some videos. The podcast is coming back. Andrew's not here, but he is coming back as well. I'm in a new house with better internet now, so we can do a little bit more remote stuff and bring you a lot more on-demand stuff. That's going to be a lot more interesting, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Didi Louzada, this guy is going to be very, very good for this team, I think. Marcos Henrique Louzada Silva, or more affectionately known as Didi Louzada, is a Brazilian shooting guard born 2nd of July 1999. He's only just turned 20 years old. Measuring at 6'5" inches, he has a 6'7" wingspan with a standing reach of 8'5" inches, weighing 203 pounds, which is roughly 92 kilos. Although listed as shooting guard, he can definitely play above his size and be the versatile shooting guard / small forward that the Sydney Kings need off the bench. He joins the Kings as part of the NBL's Next Star program after being drafted by Atlanta at 35 and then traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. He started his career in his home country Brazil, where he gained FIBA experience joining Club Franca at the age of 16. After one season, Silva competed in the LDB, an under-22 league, and led his team to a championship. Getting an invite to the America's Team Camp in 2016 with other college hopefuls, Didi continued to grow as a player, earning a debut at professional level in the 2016-17 season. The following season, he'd go on to make 23 appearances for Franca, starting 5 games and averaging 10 minutes per game. He'd show an aptitude for rebounding and perimeter defense. In the 2018-19 season is where his career starts to take off. In 48 appearances, he would average 19 minutes per game, scoring 10.58 points per game and shoot 42% from 3. Didi had his fair share of handling the ball while playing in the second unit, being a fast and harassing perimeter defender while getting to the hoop off the dribble and in transition, and being deadly when wide open from 3. According to various draft reports, his strengths were listed as size and athleticism at the shooting guard position, outside shooting ability, can be explosive when finishing at the rim, excellent work ethic, plays with a high intensity on both ends of the floor, a strong man-to-man defender who moves well laterally and anticipates well for steals. He can run pick and roll, has decent vision and passing ability for a shooting guard, and an aptitude for guard rebounding. There was plenty of upsides for Didi Louzada, but these weaknesses were listed as no experience against high-level competition, at 203 pounds, a solid frame, but his body needed to continue to get stronger. It was uncertain how he could adapt to a new culture, and of course, he can't speak English, so it was uncertain how well he'd adapt to NBA culture and possibly English-speaking culture. NBADraft.net had his NBA comparison player as Anthony Morrow, but I feel like he's a little bit more like Trevor Ariza, gifted with length and defensive awareness and can shoot the 3-ball, maybe with a little less size. Now, if we pump the brakes on the hype for just a second, I think there's a few key areas where we can compare him with Brian Bowen, our previous Next Star from last season. Although Bowen at 6'7" might have had a little bit of size and power on Didi, Bowen was able to comfortably sit as a small forward who could come off the bench and play at small forward or down in the guard positions if it was required. We didn't really see that much of Bowen in the guard rotation last season, although whether that was coaching or not, I think this is where we're going to get a lot of use out of Didi off the bench as a dedicated shooting guard who can also handle the ball, play the point, or possibly even up at the forward position. Didi's ability to handle the ball at the point draws a definitive line in the sand on the comparison with Brian Bowen, and I think sets him apart as a guard option. Will Weaver's offense is hopefully going to continue to have a lot of motion from his days with the Long Island Nets. There are a few excellent screeners and some shooting options that Didi can exploit when handling the ball, and he's going to be an excellent third man to rotate in and out with Casper Ware and Kevin Lish. If you directly compare the skill set of Didi and Brian Bowen going downhill to the basket, I think we're going to see Didi get plenty of options when cutting for passes like Lish, Ware and Bogut. He might lack that scoring punch off the dribble that Bowen brought to the Kings, and I think Bowen definitely had that highlight reel finish in his locker, which is something that draws another definitive line in the sand where Bowen excels more as a forward rather than as a guard. When it comes to knocking down the three ball, Didi shot a cool 42% for Franca in Brazil last year, compared to Bowen only shooting 34% in the NBL. While Bowen wasn't able to spot up and take that many open threes, I think to his credit, he did knock down a few wide open threes, and gave you that feel that he could knock one down if you gave it to him while he was wide open. Didi's definitely going to get the chance to get open and utilize his ability to shoot the three ball, and he loves shooting them from the corner. Now another little wrinkle is the fact that Didi is a draft and stash player. He's already been drafted and had his moment to secure his place on an NBA team. He signed that NBA contract, and as a secure asset, he can use this season to show off his talent and grow his brand on the court for not only the Kings and the Pelicans, where he might return to the NBA. The difference between a guy like Brian Bowen is that Bowen's future was always riding on the fact that he was going over to the draft at the end of the season, and to be eligible for the draft, and many had to stay healthy and be ready for next season. Didi looks like he's hungry to impress, and he's got that scrappy attitude about him, and we're in the perfect position to see it come out for the Kings. Bowen, however, did come from rich stock, bred on a hype generated from the US school system. While his NCAA future ended in controversy, he was always on a collision course heading for a future date with NBA destiny. Didi Louzada looks like a naturally scrappy guard, with that real grit that's going to make him a defensive menace in the NBL next year, and combining that with the fact that the hype for his return to the NBA is only going to rise with every minute he's on the court for the Kings, I think this is going to make for an excellent platform for the young Brazilian to showcase his considerable talent, as well as maximize the ability to propel the Kings into a winning position. Now, prior to the draft, I had some real concerns about the language barrier for Didi. It's never 100% certain that a player who isn't from an English-speaking background is going to come to a new country and thrive in a new league. The NBL may have its learning curve, but the first real test would come in Summer League and provide a good first indicator of what life might be like in the NBA. As if basketball was a universal language, Didi exploded into Summer League, scoring 13 points in 25 minutes, shooting 3 of 4 from 3 in his first start for the Pelicans against the Chicago Bulls. With number 1 draft pick and star Zion Williamson sitting out for the remainder of Summer League due to a knee injury, it paved the way for Didi to get a berth in the starting lineup at power forward. His ability to handle the ball, create for others, and his strong perimeter defense instantly washed away any fear that the language barrier might be a problem. Getting to the rim off the dribble and even creating shots for himself, he showcased an all-round ability that gives us a really intriguing insight into what we can expect when he comes down under to the NBL. To go with the points and knockdown shooting, he also picked up 2 steals and 2 blocks, showcasing his defensive versatility inside and out. If you look at this play here, he avoids the screen, contests his man going for the steal, and then gets downhill and gets a fantastic block. In his second outing against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he would play 28 minutes and score 12 points, dishing up 3 dimes and shooting 50% from inside the three-point line. His speed in transition and passing vision would again be on display. Guards with this kind of power and speed in transition have shown to be very difficult to stop in the NBL. Teams tend to put a lot more pressure on the ball in the opponent's half, and I can see him getting out on the break and doing damage when getting downhill to the rim. Now, if we have a look at this play against the Cavaliers, he gets the ball on the wing and he dribbles it into traffic. He patiently tosses it into the post, waits for his moment and makes a smart cut, and he's able to finish the play underneath after an air ball. These are the kind of hustle plays that really give him confidence that he's going to have an impact with the Sydney Kings. Now, he didn't have the best stat line against the Miami Heat. In 28 minutes, he only managed 5 points, and while he still had 3 dimes, his scoring impact wouldn't come until later in the game and in overtime, showing he has a solid engine for a full 40-minute FIBA regulation game and more. Once again, his defensive prowess was on display. He probably should have been credited for another steal here, as you can see he pokes the ball away from Robertson to get the Pels into transition and into the open floor. He also shows an aptitude to get his bigs open in the pick and roll and wide open in the lane. This is the play where he is credited for the steal on Robinson, again showing his ability to poke the ball away while defending downhill to the rim, and that's a sweet 180 circus finish there from Travion Blewett. Now this is the play that really impresses me. In overtime, he beats his man off the dribble and uses his body well for a tidy finish off the glass, maybe a little push off there as well. Memphis was probably his most well-rounded performance. In 26 minutes, he had 14 points, 6 rebounds, with 1 assist and 2 steals. He knocked down 2 threes, but he did most of his damage off the dribble. As always, he was a menace in and around the opposition on the ball, and in transition situations, he showed electric pace, getting to the hoop again and again, showing his high aptitude for finishing. I think this kid is going to be a real weapon with the ball in his hands. If he's allowed the same kind of space that we saw Brad Newley get into last season, we might have a young El Toro on our hands here, guys. His defense consistently led to offense in this game, and he had 2 magnificent finishes in transition. This right foot Euro step high off glass with the right hand. He also brought his big man up, used pick and roll to get to the hoop with a contorted finish around the opposition defender. And this, my favourite, off the dribble with his right hand switching to his left, flicking it up over the defender in style. Now he finished Summer League averaging 11 points and shooting 44% from 3. He helped the Pelicans to a semi-final place, eventually going down to the Grizzlies, who'd go on to win the tournament. He successfully passed his first Summer League test. Now the only thing left to ask is, so where's he going to fit on this Kings roster? Let's have a quick look at the depth chart here. The big coup of signing Casper Ware from Melbourne United and pairing him with club captain Kevin Lish means those 1 and 2 spots are locked up pretty tight. That could be one of the best backcourts in the NBL. Warhorse Brad Newley is likely to start at the small forward position, with plenty of competition off the bench from Jayshawn Tate. Didi's versatility might get him some extra minutes playing at the 3, but those minutes will probably go to Kuani. The power forward spot is still up for grabs, with the Kings possibly looking at another power forward signing and forwards Daniel Kickett and Craig Moller to come off the bench. Andrew Bogut, last year's MVP, returning from a stint in the NBA with the Warriors, and the young Aussie Jordan Hunter, fresh from his St Mary's College stint, will back him up at the centre position. The bench guard spots will probably be taken up by Didi Louzada and Sean Bruce, with Kuani being that versatile scorer at the 2 and 3 position. Didi's ability to run point will set him apart from the other 2 guards and probably see him as the first guy off the bench for either Ware or Lish. Kuani and Jayshawn Tate provide that extra scoring ability downhill that'll give you that punch off the bench while the ball's in Didi's hands. If you look at the rest of the options on the roster that Sydney's assembling, there are some excellent options to get downhill to the rack while retaining that specialist outside shooting that can be dialed up out of drives to the basket. This is going to complement the fast-paced style, utilising Ware, Lish and Bogut's passing ability, and if there's plenty of ball movement, look for the Kings to outpace their opponents. If you remember last season, we had a real problem when Lish and Randall would come out of the game for Adnam, and Gaze was forced to regularly rotate Randall and Lish in and out of the lineup, and the team was rarely able to run a stable defensive second unit that wasn't leaking points. The depth in the guard positions is breaking new grounds for the Kings this season. For the first time in a while, the team has the versatility of guard options, balancing a roster and pairing it with a high caliber center who brings unique passing ability in Andrew Bogut. So there you have it, our first look at Didi Louzada. We think he's going to be a fantastic pickup for the Kings, and we look forward to watching him take the next steps in his career. And definitely stay tuned, because we're working on a video for Jayshawn Tate and how he fits into this Kings team. So thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time on the King's Dime.